Hey, KHawks Nation, it's Coach Malone here. Hope you're well. Welcome to episode 3 of Hawk Talk. In today's episode, I recently had the opportunity to sit down with the big right-handed pitcher out of Tulane University, Trent Johnson. For those of you who don't know Trent, he has been around the KHawks organization since really the beginning. But Trent is an incredible young man. I very genuinely admire his work ethic and his mindset, but I also just incredibly appreciative that every single year he comes back and donates his time to work with our athletes at the KHawks Winter Development Camp. Just a huge advantage for our boys to be able to learn from someone with the skills and abilities that Trent has worked so hard to develop. So Trent, thank you. But before we get too far into the interview, though, I definitely want to take just a quick second. Thank our sponsor for this episode, the Louisville Slugger Dome. Rick Gay and team have just been so good to the KHawks organization. We've had the opportunity to, call the Louisville Slugger Dome the home of the KHawks here for the last few years. It's an incredible facility to help us run our winter development for the boys in preparation for spring. But, being really the best baseball facility in the area, it's been a huge advantage for us to be able to run all of our weekly games as well as the leagues out there. So, Rick, thanks for all your help and support. We certainly appreciate it. So, with that being said, looking forward to sharing this interview with Trent. You're going to hear about his path from travel baseball into a Division I program, overcoming adversity, having a Tommy John surgery as a junior in high school, coming from a Division I program back to a JUCO program, and then earning another spot at a Division I school, going and playing for Tulane University. Getting off to a great start last year, but having that season cut short with COVID. Certainly his feedback to some of the same young men that we have in the organization who have the same aspirations that he does, and what he would recommend that they're thinking about in preparing themselves to get ready to play at a collegiate level as well. So can't wait to share the interview with you today. Hope you enjoyed as much as I do. And without any further ado, here's Trent. Hey guys, this is Coach Malone. I am out here at the Louisville Slugger Dome at the 4th annual Winter Development Camp put on by the KHawks. We've got about 100 kids out here all working to get better, and the coolest part of the camp every single year is guys like Trent come back, playing college ball actively and put time and energy into helping others get better. So we appreciate having you out here, and I just appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love coming back out here. We didn't have this facility when I was growing up, so this is pretty cool to be around these kids and just see them enjoy baseball, especially in the dead of winter.
Absolutely. Well, Trent, for those that haven't gotten to know you yet, just tell us a little bit about your baseball background and kind of how you worked through, travel baseball, high school, and into college.
Yeah. So I went to grade school, Germantown Hills High School, Metamora. I grew up playing with a small travel ball team. We were the Metamora Monsters. Out of Metamora. As I transitioned into high school, I ended up going to Chicago, playing with the team called Elite Baseball.
Right.
For just a little bit more exposure up there. And then I committed to the University of Arizona, going into my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
Ended up going to the University of Arizona my freshman year of college. Things didn't work out there as I planned. Then I went to John A. Logan Junior College down in Carterville, Illinois,
right,
by SIUC, and then committed to Tulane over there, and I've been in Tulane for the last 4 years now, or 3 years now.
Got it. Awesome. Now, we'll jump into some of your time at Tulane, but I wanted to talk with you, and as a sophomore, obviously, guys who are getting recruited as sophomore, they're standouts. So what was it that really got you on Arizona's radar that, as a sophomore, kind of got you to that commitment level?
Right. Well, I've always been in baseball terms, a big guy.
Right.
Even at that age, I was probably 6'3", 240 pounds.
Right.
I was very strong then, and I could throw hard for my age then. And what got me on their radar actually was I went down to them. My grandparents had wintered down in Tucson for about 20 years.
Got it.
So I knew the area really well. I loved the University of Arizona, and I actually went down to one of their camps just knowing that I probably could do well there, and thankfully I did, and I think I committed to them about 2 days after I went to that camp.
That's awesome.
It was a quick process, a lot quicker than I was expecting. I mean, I think I committed before I even had my license.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, I think one of the things that people don't realize is, baseball, there's always bumps in the road. It doesn't go exactly how you think it's going to go. And obviously, like you mentioned, things didn't go as you expected at Arizona. But I think what's impressive is getting back into a JUCO, getting things pulled together, and getting right back to another major program like Tulane.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much what I would sum my career up as one big bumpy road. So my junior year of high school, I went down in our third game of the year, tore my UCL, and then having time with John a couple days later.
Right.
So that was 2014, and then going into Arizona, I was healthy. I was able to throw, but my elbow wasn't really responding that well. I had a lot of forearm issues, bicep issues. There would be days where I couldn't even fully extend my elbow. And as a pitcher, when it comes to the difference of being at that level, the difference of being 86 to 88 versus 89 to 92 is a huge difference.
Right. People don't realize you can hear it in the catcher's mitt.
Yeah. So I think just the health issues I faced there really challenged me. As I knew I was going to leave Arizona pretty early when it wasn't going the way I wanted it to. It really challenged me to make sure I wanted to stay with baseball, because I was 40, 50 pounds away from coming up and going play football.
Right, sure.
So I think just looking back at that, where my mindset was then and where I'm at now, I'm really thankful that I decided to stick with it.
That's awesome. Now, what I think the coolest part of it is going into the season last year, which I know got cut short for COVID. I mean, you guys had a bullpen that was on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys looked awesome. I mean, you had pitchers at the top of the rotation, including yourself. ERAs were awesome. I think you were probably ranked somewhere that 13th to 15th in the country. I mean, you guys looked like in position to make a run towards Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. We this Tulane program that I've been lucky enough to be a part of has come a long way. It's come a long way in 3-4 years now, and we were on fire. I think we were 17-2. We were beating really good teams. We had just come off a series win at Cal State Fullerton University.
Right.
So we having the season cut, it all felt like a dream. The day after our last game, we were all in the locker room, just like this didn't feel real. It was just so out of the ordinary, obviously for everybody. It had been. Having our season cut short was it was one of those things that we were on such a roll. Can we ever get hot like that again?
Right.
But so far this fall, we've kept pretty much everybody. Lost a few hitters, but our pitching staff is the best pitching staff I've ever been a part of by far.
That's awesome.
From top to bottom, we have a lot of depth. Our top 4 or 5 starting pitchers can pitch anywhere else in the country if they wanted to. So there's a lot of excitement going into the season. I think we're all just praying for a semi-normal year.
Absolutely. So what's it like being on a staff like that? I mean, talk about how you guys work together, and I mean, how much of that actually comes together and you helping each other get better?
Right. Yeah, competitiveness, that's the biggest part.
Right.
We are, the difference in, I guess at our level now, velocity really does take time to play.
Right.
We have a lot of guys that throw hard. We have a lot of mid-90s guys. And I think the competitiveness and competing for a spot is one thing, but the competitiveness, and everybody wants to throw hard.
Right.
There's not a lot of guys that probably say, I don't care if I throw harder than anybody. And
right.
That competitiveness around our day-to-day work is what really drives our program.
Yeah.
I love being around it. I love the guys that just are on the same journey. Everybody has an interesting story there.
Yeah.
Everybody's been junior college and not had their way, surgeries and rough times, and everybody's got a unique story, and everybody's just kind of fun of themselves to their career at that point.
Yeah.
And being around that, learning everybody's experiences is what helps our whole program go.
That's awesome. I always think that, that competitiveness that you talk about at every level, I think coaches who do it really well, they instill that into their programs.
Right.
They're getting their guys to compete, really not even knowing what they're doing, but they're getting those guys to compete during practice.
Yeah.
So it translates into, hey, we're working harder, we're getting better together, we're building chemistry, and now we're going to take that back out into the field and we're going to put it onto somebody.
Right. Yeah, I think the competitiveness is instilled, for me, the way I see it is everything in life is broken down in order to be better.
Right.
You lift weights, you break your muscle tissue down in order for them to grow.
Yes.
That's the same thing in life. That's the same thing in baseball. For me personally, it's been a couple of surgeries where I've had to be broken down on the shelf, at my lows, not being able to play baseball.
Right.
I've had to learn from that in order to grow from it. And I think that's where the competitiveness is instilled, is everybody understanding that more times than not, especially in baseball, in a failure sport, it's not going to go your way.
No, absolutely not.
The only thing you can do is know what's in your control. The only thing that is in control for you is the way you respond and the way you allow yourself to grow from it.
Absolutely.
Hanging on to the past, I've seen it ruin baseball.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, you see it happen, in short spells where, a guy will say it's a slump. I mean, the reality of it is his confidence is not, right? And it's a matter of he doesn't have his head in the right position to go back out there and to compete at the level he's capable of competing at.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. One of the things that I'd love to have, kids and parents hear a little bit about, because, part of the reason that I think this is such a cool camp is kids get to come back in and chase the same dream that they see you chasing, right? But they see you so much further into a very difficult journey. That's impressive to these guys. But talk a little bit about what it's like, kind of on a day-to-day basis playing in a major collegiate program.
Yeah. So first off, I want to say, before getting into that, what I love about this is seeing kids have fun playing baseball. The baseball that we play is very stressful.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's day to day, especially during the season. Everything is a lot of importance. And I will say, some days I do miss the days where we're on a travel game in the middle of nowhere, just playing ball and having fun.
I'm sure.
So I think my biggest advice to parents, especially, and kids, is just allow baseball to be fun.
Right.
And obviously instill competitive ethics and work ethics. But I think keeping baseball fun for as long as you possibly can is really, really important.
Yes.
A day-to-day, I'd say, so for if we have a game that day in our program, say we have a Friday night game at 7:30, most of us have class in the morning. I'm online now, so I'm kind of lucky. Right. Most of us have class in the morning, and then around 1:30 we will meet for a team meal somewhere around campus.
Okay.
So our day, for a 7:30 game, our days usually start about 6 hours before.
Got it.
So we'll have a meal, we'll go up into the locker room, change into our practice or our pregame gear. So we just have different, because we get all sweaty and then we go change.
Right.
So we'll have our pregame training gear, and then we'll go out, have a meeting, look at the day ahead, look at the scouting report ahead, stretch, about 45 minutes worth of batting practice. So if you're a pitcher, you're just shagging.
Right.
So that's where I learned how to hit a good fungo.
Right.
Shagging. Yeah. So pitchers, we'll go shag. Hitters will hit, and then we'll go back in, change, freshen up, and then we'll come back out to the field around an hour and a half before the game. That's where we start to loosen up our arms, have infield, outfield, and the game will kind of slowly get there as we go. So it's a long day, and
it sounds like
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days in a row. You're at the field 12 hours a day.
Right, and you're talking about a home game right now.
Oh, that's a home game.
So I'm sure it's a little more difficult than
games, I mean, if we're flying, we're usually 4:30 in the morning getting ready to go fly.
Yeah.
So, which I think flying with your whole team like that's pretty fun.
Absolutely.
Whether it's in some places we go more or less, like we went to Los Angeles last year.
Right.
And that was fun. I mean, it was just different part of the country. It just felt like a different whole life we were living.
For sure. That's awesome. Well, if you think about kids that are kind of trying to get to that same level, playing at some level in college baseball, what's the advice that you'd give them in terms of just kind of getting yourself, what are the 2 or 3 things that they should be thinking about?
Right. I've learned more from the things that I've done wrong than the things that I've not done right.
Right.
It's, I would say my career really, I want to say right now I feel like I'm the best I've ever been.
Right.
And I'm very thankful
awesome.
for that. But that's because I started to take ownership of myself. I think I went into Arizona and some other schools out there just expecting that what I was going to be given is going to get me better.
Right.
When in reality, it's all up to you. It's all up to, whether for a while I called myself a YouTube coach. I would just learn my mechanics on YouTube from content places like that.
Yep.
Taking ownership of your career as early as you can. Taking ownership of the amount of sleep you get, the water you're drinking, the good food you're putting into your body, not how hard you're working, but what you're working on.
Right.
Baseball is a game of repetitiveness. You got to be able to go day in and day out. So I don't believe in absolutely burying yourself during the training. I believe in doing the correct things that's going to help you be the best athlete possible, while maintaining the functionality of being able to do that day in and day out.
Right.
And then last, just being able to understand that once you get recruited, once you're getting to high school, communication skills.
Right.
I know a lot of kids. I know my coaches talk a lot about being able to communicate. Just have a simple conversation like this.
Right.
Communication skills, being personable, and just being a really humble person. Because baseball is the most humbling sport. No matter how good you are, you could have a perfect game, no hitter 1 week, and the next week could be the worst out of your career.
Right.
So staying humble. So in all, taking ownership of your career, being personable, and staying humble.
So it's funny that you say that. I've been having a lot of conversations with our 13 and 14-year-olds about taking ownership of their own training, and realizing that showing up on a Sunday and a Thursday night to get their swings in is not really what it's about. It's about having a plan.
Right.
Now I know I see you out when you're at home, and I'll tell you, this guy works his butt off. Whether you're doing farmers carries before you're getting in to do your bullpens. I mean, I know you work hard.
Yeah.
But one thing I also know is that you're a thoughtful guy and an academic when it comes to baseball. And that's one of the other things we're working with kids on now is, talk about how when you get ready to go into the gym, you're not just showing up there, I'm sure, and what happens. You got a plan, I'm assuming.
Right. Caffeine. Everyone. Caffeine. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so the gym, that's where I've seen the most either success or failure in my career. Is I'm a bigger guy, which is good. Mm-hmm. I'm strong, and I'm physically, just bigger, I guess. But that also goes against me in some ways. I'm not as flexible, maybe not as quick. My dad and I, we joke about it sometimes. I quit football, where I was one of the better athletes on the field in my position, to play baseball, where I'm just really not fit. So long story short, yes, the gym is probably the most important part of my baseball career.
Right.
Mechanics and everything that falls into place as long as my body allows me to.
Right.
So my goal when I go into training, I don't necessarily lift the ton anymore. Strength isn't my problem.
Right.
I do strength work in some areas, but a lot of it is just being able to be the best athlete I can be. Mm-hmm. And my definition of an athlete is just somebody who can handle their body very well. Right. Somebody that you could put on the football field, the basketball court, the tennis court, the baseball field, ping pong, and just somebody that's just neurologically, physically aware of themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And so my goal when I train is to move quick, jump high, and when I am lifting weight, moving the weight fast. There's a lot of different kind of strength conditioning methods, and that's something that's really hard for people to sort out what's best for them.
Right.
But I think the easy answer is just moving, being athletic. Go play basketball, go play football, be an athlete all the time.
Absolutely. Well, that's great advice. Trent, I know you got a bullpen that you're going to get out here and throw here in a little bit, so I don't want to take too much time from him. I really appreciate you first being out here today. I know the whole organization. I know you're kind of born into the organization in some degrees. But with that being said, I mean, you spend a lot of time out here, and you got to realize that, guys like Trent, they're not just out here donating their time. These guys are getting ready for the season too. So, he'll go out, throw a bullpen after this. Ethan Skinder, who I talked to before this, he's getting ready to go lift right now. So these guys are in the throes of baseball being a job too, and just doing what you need to do to get yourself ready to compete at that level. So I appreciate you taking the time to spend a few minutes here and share your experience with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I love being around the kids, love the facility, and I'll be back next year.
Awesome. Thanks, Trent. Appreciate it. Take care. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview just as much as I did. I will tell you that being out of baseball facilities around the area, I run into Trent while he's working out frequently. Whether he is getting himself physically ready or throwing bullpens, what I can tell you is this guy has a tremendous amount of focus and he does work his tail off. So, you get an opportunity to really hear from somebody that I really, truly believe has the mindset of a winner. And I think there's a lot to be learned from Trent for the players in our organization about what it really does take and the mindset of someone who is playing at an incredibly high level. And you're talking about someone who has not had an easy path. I mean, we're talking about a situation where he was challenged with a situation where he very could have easily gone a different direction. You even heard Trent talk about, the possibility of even thinking about going and playing football, but his love for the game and really wanting to see how far he could take it is kind of what's kept him dialed in and working so hard. And it's just really incredibly admirable. So Trent, thank you again for the time. We appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 3 of Hawk Talk. We've got more coming for you soon. I can't wait to share. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and go KHawks.